Welcome back, Year 5. In today's math lesson, we're taking it a step further with angles. Today, we're actually going to be drawing some lines and angles. You have two learning intentions. The first is to draw lines accurately to the nearest millimeter. We'll get back to what a millimeter is in a second. Also, we'll be using a protractor to draw angles accurately. Alright, let's start by going over some vocabulary, just so that we know what we're doing. Let's start by establishing what a millimeter is. You probably guessed already that a millimeter is a unit of measurement, a lot like centimeters, or kilometers, or inches, or feet, or miles. A millimeter happens to be a very small unit of measure. On your screen right now, you're seeing a ruler. It's been blown up, so it's not to scale, or it's not its real size. But what it's showing us along the top is centimeters, 0, 1, 2, and 3. But in between each of those centimeters, there are little lines. So we can see that each centimeter has been split up into smaller fractions. How many pieces has each one been split into? Take a second to count them. They've been split up into 10 equal parts. So that longer line in the middle, since it's halfway in between each centimeter, represents the halfway mark. Now, all those little lines actually represent millimeters. That's because it takes 10 millimeters to make 1 centimeter. So every little line you see is counting up by 1 millimeter. So if we start at 0, it would count like this. 1 millimeter, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then when you've reached 1 centimeter, that's also the same as having 10 millimeters. So how many millimeters is 2 centimeters? Well, we've just added another 10 millimeters, so it's going to be 20. And 3 centimeters would be 30 millimeters. So keep in mind it takes 10 millimeters to make 1 centimeter. Or you could say it in the reverse. 1 centimeter is the same as 10 millimeters. So let's say I needed to draw a line that was 8 millimeters long. Well, I could use my ruler, and I would start from the 0 and simply mark out 8 of those little lines. And I would stop at the 8th one, as you can see here. But what if I had to make a line that was 25 millimeters long? Well, 20 millimeters is the same as 2 centimeters. So I can go to my 2 and know that that's already 20, and then just count up 5 more. And my line would stop here. So when we say we're measuring to the nearest millimeter, we mean we're using those little lines on our ruler on the centimeter side. Each of those little lines represents 1 millimeter. So now that we've covered vocabulary relating to lines, let's take a look at some vocabulary related to angles. So we already know an angle is the measure of a turn, but there's another important word that we need to know, and that is vertex. In previous lessons, I've simply been referring to this as the point of the angle, because that's really what it is, it's the pointy part. But the special name for that is the vertex, and today we're going to be hearing that a bit more. So keep in mind, whenever you hear the vertex of an angle, it's simply talking about the pointy part. Another term we need to consider is the word ray. Now, hopefully you've come across this on IXL already, because then you'll be super prepared for this lesson. If not, here's what a ray is. A ray is a part of a line that has one end point and continues without end in one direction. So below we can see an example of a ray, FG. Well, the end point is F, because the ray seems to start there, and then it continues on through G. So G is the other side of the ray, but the ray actually continues, so we can imagine that it keeps just going on forever. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, I can see this ray on my screen and it's not going on forever. Well, yeah, that's because we can't actually draw a line that goes on forever. But the idea is there, and it's very important for angles because, as we've learned in previous lessons, you can make the arms of an angle as long as you want and it doesn't change the size of the angle. So I can make one side of the angle 10 millimeters long and the other side could be a mile long, and it doesn't change the measurement of the angle. So when we draw angles, we're really drawing them with rays on the side, because that shows that the arms can just extend as long as necessary and the angle is actually the same. We just learned quite a few words about angles, so let's put them into practice. I want you to copy this angle into your notebook. Don't worry about it being to scale. That means I don't need you to actually measure it. You're just going to draw roughly what it looks like. Sometimes mathematicians do this when they're not worried about something being accurate, they just kind of want to illustrate it. So that's when we say something is not to scale. So you've drawn your angle. Now this is what I want you to do. Label the vertex O. Now I want you to label the top ray A, so that its full name is ray OA. Then I want you to label the bottom ray B, so that its full name is ray OB. Finally, since this is not to scale, we're just going to put down some fake measurements on this angle. And we're going to say that ray OA measures 15 millimeters. So I want you to label that along ray OA. And you're going to label ray OB as measuring 26 millimeters, which of course is not true. As we said, it's not to scale. All right. I'm going to give you a few more seconds. I'm going to show you what your angle should be looking like. It should look like this. So if you understood what all those words mean, ray and vertex, then you should have gotten this correct. You should have it labeled like this. Again, don't worry, it doesn't need to be to scale, so you didn't need your protractor and you didn't actually need your ruler for this one. How did you do? If you got it all right, excellent. If not, just go ahead and make your corrections now. Because today's lesson focuses on drawing lines and angles, I wanted to have a video for you that would really show you up nice and close how to do this properly. So I found a video online on a channel called Real Math Solutions where she shows you nice and clearly how to draw an angle correctly using a protractor. And I want you to go check out this video before you do your independent work today. She shows you how to draw the ray of the angle, how to line up your protractor with the vertex, and then how to measure out the angle before you finish drawing it. This is super important that you watch this before you do the independent work. To find this video, I've put a link to it in the description box below, but it's also saved on our math playlist, so you can find it there. All right, so this is going to be your independent work. I know this was a short video from me today, but that's just because I don't have a camera that has the kind of quality that I can show you up close how to draw lines and angles accurately. It just wouldn't be high enough quality for you to see. So make sure you watch that Real Math Solutions video. The independent work today comes from pages 63, 64, and 65. Make sure you use your ruler and your protractor when doing this. Otherwise, there is no way that you can do it accurately. So if you do not have a ruler or protractor yet, you definitely need to go and get one, and then you can do this assignment. When you're done, make sure you take a picture of it and send it to me at my email. All right, Year 5, that's all for today. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.